Hey, all you Warhammer players, and welcome to the YAWP. My name is Jeremy, otherwise known as All Day 40K, and today I have my friend with me. What's your name, buddy?
Hey guys, this is Joey. Online is Bedingfield Painting, just Instagram, nothing crazy for me.
That's right, and his painting is spectacular. Now, it's probably that you guys should at least kind of know who we are, where we're coming from, before we just start talking at you about Warhammer, and you don't really know or understand truly who we are. So, number one, I am first and foremost a competitive player. I'm not one of those fluffy players. I don't like building those lists that are like, oh, this is narratively sound. Like, I don't like that. Other than that, competitively speaking, however, I think I'm still stuck in the middle tables. I think I'm pretty close to getting, into the next bracket, but it is, I feels like it's still a bit of a climb. I really appreciate the hobby, so I love painting and building and converting. But I'm not quite, I'm still trying to get there.
Yeah.
Of all of the games that I play, it's quite literally only Warhammer 40K. Because my brain is so small that it can only hold so many games. And if you're here, you might know me from TikTok. I have a humble channel called All Day 40K. But anyway, those are my credentials. Joey, what about you, bud?
Yeah, also a competitive player for 40K. I started off as a fluffy player back in the 6.5 edition that we went through. I started competitive play roughly 8th edition, and then really started taking it seriously in 9th, and then 10th edition. Obviously, I've just continued to try and keep the foothold as the game changes on here. I would have said, I don't know, 2 months ago, if we had started this, that I was also a middle table player. That seems to be changing, which is great. So I'm more than happy to be moving up that ladder. I do agree 100%. I think you're very much on that, just the cusp of breaking that. It's a weirdly difficult line to break. It's like that. For like people that play League of Legends is like breaking out of bronze, right? Like it's just you're there forever. But
yeah, things just have to start clicking, right?
Yep.
And you play like all the games, right? So break down for us all of the stuff that you jump into.
Yeah, so mostly 40K. It's certainly not my favorite of the miniature games, but it is the one that all of my friends play, and so I just kind of have stuck with it that way. I play Age of Sigmar. I play Middle-earth strategy battle game. I play Marvel Crisis Protocol. I have played Star Wars Legion. That's pretty much, I think, probably the extent of my miniature games at the moment. Whether or not that changes in the future, who knows? But yeah, mostly 40K is where my time goes. So,
well, that's good. It's considering that's probably what we're probably going to talk about the most here.
Yeah.
Now, you say that you have a painting Instagram. Talk to us about your hobby, aspirations, goal, where you were, where you are, just in general there.
Sure. I've been pretty off the wagon recently for hobby, and definitely not putting the time in that I would say should. That's not really the word that people use, but I don't know, the time that I would really ideally like to put in is not getting put in, but that's okay. I started just because I was painting, and I grew up doing art, and just kind of fell in love with the miniature side of it. Started painting, and then my friend that taught me how to play the game was like, hey, I have a bunch of stuff. Can you paint it for me? Because I don't have time. And that kind of pushed me into commission painting, because I was young. I was 19, 20 when I started playing the game. I was in the Air Force, so I was just a young, poor, newly married airman. And so just painting other people's stuff is how I was able to pay for mine. So
nice.
just kind of push that way. Yeah, I mean, aspirations. I would like to just get a stronger, I guess, online presence or foothold. And that's honestly just me going back and putting the work in and actually making the posts. And I just don't do that as much as I should right now.
Yeah, as it turns out, most of the time, as long as you're consistent, people tend to stick around and appreciate you.
Yeah.
So let's just hope that we can do that with this, and really,
that's the goal, right?
Yeah, let's just see how it is. Now, thanks for telling us about all that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what we're doing now, what we're working on now. So on my desk in front of me at this moment, I have 6 Outriders for whatever reason that I am currently getting painted up. I already have 6 on the shelf that are fine. Sure. But when we went to LVO and I saw that list of ridiculous bikes and stuff, it's just been stuck in my craw, man. Like I want to play that list. Something similar to it.
That list was sweet. I think that's like one of the closest lists that I've ever seen that like the people that do care about lore can go, ooh, that's sound for the lore, but it's also just actually a good list and really cool.
Yeah, what's with Dark Angels having so many units that just wound vehicles on 4s?
Yeah.
It's crazy to me. Anyway, so I've got some really cool ones on the way. I really like Outriders. I have always really liked Outriders. I can just rarely find reasons to ever put them on the table. But now that they've been kind of fixed, I want to play them. So we'll see how it goes. See if I get some Stormlance going, as I am a fairly staunchly Marines player. So you said you've been off the hobby wagon recently. So what is it that you most recently worked on, or what do you think is on the shelf next?
So, I mean, right now I have, a ton. I have all the full Eldar release that needs to get built. And then I've got, I don't know, probably 3,000 points of Guard that needs to be built. And then I have a, what I think is pretty spicy, auxiliary cadre Tau list that I need to build. It's like half built right now.
That's a lot of armies, buddy.
It's a lot. It's unfortunate. I just can't help myself. I can't stick to one like some people and you can. As much as I enjoy it, I spent all the 2024 competitive season with Drukhari, and I love them. They're my baby. And I will definitely still be playing them. It's just I have to have variety, and I have to be able to do different things.
That's fair. I think that's one of the reasons why I can just play Space Marines so often. And I have like Grey Knights and Chaos Knights and whatnot. But I just find so much variety in the way that you can play Space Marines that I don't get tired of it. And they're challenging because their data sheets are good, but like not really good.
Right.
And so I find myself like excited to just try different stuff.
Yeah, and that's fair. And I've been there. I think I've purchased and built and half painted and traded away Space Marines probably 6 times, and I just can't. I don't know what it is. I can't stick to them. I don't like painting them, which is a big thing for me. Like I know if I don't enjoy painting the army, it doesn't matter how good it is. I'm not going to play it.
Yeah, you know what? I get it, because now that like my paint is pretty good and like fairly locked down.
Yeah,
it is a really boring thing for me because there's nothing like, sure, every once in a while, like I have a lion that I'm getting ready to eventually paint, and like I'll put a lot of effort into him, but I can't stray too far from what my scheme is,
Right.
So, okay. So you have all this Guard, all this Tau. What is the model next you want to put down and actually put paint on?
I am very, very excited to put some paint on the Crutox Rampagers for Tau.
Cool. Yeah.
I think those models are just the models are phenomenal, and I've been seeing some people that keep popping up on my Instagram that have been doing some really cool and different stuff and ideas with them. I don't want the Crutox to be gray. I don't want my Kroot to be green. Like there's so much potential inside of those models, and I'm really excited to like sit down and actually give that a shot.
Do you want to go with something earthy, like the gray, green, brown shade, or what?
Potentially. I don't. For the life of me, do not remember his handle right now, which is unfortunate. But there's hey, look, there it is. It was literally the first thing as I opened Instagram. I'm gonna butcher it. It's Hofsta draws things, HOFSTA, and then draws things on Instagram. His Rampagers and Kroot are red.
Ooh.
But not like his Rampagers are like burgundy, and then he does this like super bright, like if you've seen like Proacral sky blue, that's his, like he does that like as like war paint.
Yeah, this is fantastic. It's like orcs from WoW, Red Orcs from WoW.
Very, very similar. And obviously, I don't want to just like sit down and copy somebody. That never feels great.
No.
But something to that effect, like that's different and unique, and it flows really, really well. I've toyed around with the idea before Auxiliary Cadre came out. I thought about doing just the Kroot army for just a fun hobby project, as potentially like a aquarium, just like super bright, like underwater-ish kind of feel.
That'd be cool.
So I don't know. I definitely am not decided on how I am going to paint them yet. I'm hoping that kind of comes together, but I am excited to work on them.
Dude, that sounds awesome. Like I want to start painting something new so badly, but then I don't want to do it at the same time. Like not yet, not until I'm 100% ready to do it. It's such a weird, like stop and go, like mental state for me there.
Yeah, I've been there. There's so many, like, there's been over the years just models where I'm like, oh man, I really want to paint that, but not yet. I'm not good enough yet. And like, just do it, man. Like it's so good.
Yeah. Eventually I'm mostly just, this, I'm waiting for Grey Knights. I want new Terminators really bad. Yeah. And then I'm just going to change the entirety of my paint scheme. And the goal is to have a fully non-metal metallic black army, which is going to be hard.
You want it non-metallic metal as black?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And just like put in some like really poppy like bits of red into some of the armor, and then like throw in a few like white like checker patterns in there. Once like on a knee pad here and there. And just to try to have something that's like unique as far as Grey Knights go. But we'll see. That's what I've been playing with. It might not come to fruition. It's just a matter of testing. Yeah.
I mean, it's, we test and then some things work and some things don't, and we keep going. So
yeah. My current Grey Knight paint job is Silver Fox from one of the, I forget, Turbo Dork, which is a paint I love. Sure. But it's just that with like one coat of red on the red bits and some gold. That's it.
Yeah, it's classic table ready Grey Knights. You rattle can lead belcher and hit them with some non oil and some gold and call it done.
I can't do it. It makes me sad whenever I see that army. I get so mad when I see just like all basic silver. Like, come on, try something new.
I went to the GW Dallas Open last year, and there was a Grey Knight player there that they were gold. Like, I walked up to the table because he was playing one of my teammates, and I walked up and at first I was like, oh, cool, Custodes. And then I looked and I was like, oh my God, those are Grey Knights.
Like, look how old the models are.
Yeah. But it was a cool idea. Like, I hadn't seen, I mean, it makes perfect sense. I just hadn't seen anybody do it.
Yeah. My, one of my buddies up here, Jaden, he did, I think, Grey Knights, and they were a lot of gold, and it looks really good when you do it right. So
yes,
it's exciting. Okay. That's enough for a hobby for now. maybe next time we'll have a little bit to talk about in terms of progress. All I've done is put like some some dark silver on a dude.
Right.
But what about events? I know you have a bunch of stuff coming up. I know I have a bunch of stuff coming up. So what are you most excited about, and what you're prepping for the most as far as events go?
So I guess the closest one to me right now is I'm coming up to your neck of the woods there on the 1st for the 40K at Gamers Haven.
Oh, cool. That's right.
So
we have one
in
March.
I don't know if you're going to that one, but I'll be there for that.
Cool.
Just kind of feel out what the meta's like over there. Cause I know what it's like here in Coeur d'Alene, so there's not really too much more there. So just kind of seeing what it's like. Cause then I've got the team tournament that Gamers Haven is putting on in, I don't remember, March.
Yeah, it's end of March. It's like the
end of March. Yeah. So from what I hear, there will be quite a few people that are testing their teams lists, which I have mixed feelings on in a singles environment, but that is beside the point. So just kind of get a feel of what everything's going before we go up there for the team event, because the guys here, originally I just was part of the team to be one of their 8th for the, or, one of their people for the squad. And then I'm the only one here that has WTC format experience. So they were like, hey, can you just like do the pairings and coaching and let us know what we need to do? I was like, all right. So I'm doing that now. So
that's awesome.
Still playing, but yeah.
Are you? That's the Unga Bunga Boys or whatever.
Yeah, I think it's Unga Bunga Legion or whatever. But that's I guess for me, the cool thing about WTC format is that your team for an event does not have to be your ITC team that you're registered under.
Right.
So I just get to go play with those guys and move on.
Yeah, that's good. I'm sure it'll be fun. I am also prepping for that event. We have a couple of mercenaries and then just like whoever we could get from Spokane. I mean, when it comes down to it, it's really hard to get 8 players together who like actually want to play more than just, the one event. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yep.
So we have 6 of us who we're fairly confident that like they will want to play with, like we'll always like be willing to travel to do more of these 8-man teams. But we did get 2 mercs. And we managed to pull Bailey over from the PNW Warlords or Pacific Northwest Warlords. And then his friend, who's also on Team USA, Nick Fromm, is actually joining us for this one, which feels a little unbalanced, but also we're all just kind of okay. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. The team tournament format is just a completely different animal, and it's honestly hard to even explain because like you're still playing 40K. Like nothing fundamentally is different. The game is the same, but it's such a different feel and such a different like environment and everything that like I think it's fine. It's not a huge deal.
Yeah, every podcast I've listened to, they talk about how teams is the most fun format that you can potentially play in Warhammer. So I can't help but just want to immerse myself, which made me sad that I couldn't get a 4-man together for like the little tournament that you were putting together, right?
Right. Originally, yeah, I was supposed to, which was actually going to be on the 1st out here, but they only got, I think, 3 teams signed up.
Oh,
and
bummer.
So they were just like, hey, we'll just cancel it, turn it into a regular RTT. I was like, cool, you don't need me to run that, so I'm going to go to Spokane.
Makes sense.
So,
yeah, it would be. Don't you get like free books if you run enough RTTs?
Not that I'm aware of. No, I mean I've run, dozens of RTTs at various locations, and yeah, I've definitely never gotten anything from GW. I would love to if they are listening ever, but I have not gotten anything from them before.
I think something like that exists. That's why Vanilla started doing a bunch of hosting a bunch of them. So,
Oh, interesting. Okay. Oh, well, are you? I mean, he's commentating. That's different.
no, he was actually running RTTs.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Yeah, and so I don't know. We'll have to look it up, figure it out.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. All right. Well, let's get into the meat of things. So I have pulled myself out of like looking too deeply into Guard and Aeldari stuff, but I know that these two armies are near and dear to you.
Yes.
And we're really excited to see these new armies hitting the field. I know that a couple of them just seem a little strong. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go through each of them to a degree, and then really talk about what you're most excited about.
Yeah.
So let's start with Guard, or the Astra Militarum.
Astra Militarum. Or the Guard, for the people that have actually played this game for more than a year.
What updates have there been to the army rule in general?
The army rule itself is still, orders. We're still issuing orders. They've consolidated quite a bit. We only have 6 orders now, and I'm going to be honest, I am new to Guard, so I don't actually know how many we had before, but I know, if I remember correctly, there was more than one list of orders.
Okay.
That is not the case. We are still limited of the generally the officer. If you've got a infantry officer, he is, he'll have the regiment keyword, and he's going to issue his orders to regiment keyword units. And so you do still need things that can issue orders to tanks and so on. The good news on that front is that all of the tank commanders have gone up from 1 order to 2. So the not Guard feeling Guard lists that we've been used to for the past 18 months of 10th edition, where they only have 3 or 4 vehicles, and all of that was just because they couldn't feasibly get enough orders. Mm-hmm. That's probably gone because every tank commander now can order themselves and another one. So that is all. I mean, for me, I think it's fantastic. Just having more orders is incredible.
Yeah, that seems really strong considering how strong tank commanders are.
Yeah, they're pretty good. In general, yeah, in general, they're pretty okay.
And now we have a new tank commander. Is that
we do have a
correct?
New tank commander? We have the rumored Rogel Dorn commander now.
Why?
Who does, because Rogel Dorns are sick, and some people want to put 6 of them on a table, I guess.
Dicks.
If you want to. That's a thing you can do. I don't know if you should, but you can.
Oh, no.
You do lose, whereas the Rogel Dorn has the, whatever the rule's called, ablative plating or whatever, the changing damage to 0 once per game. Mm-hmm. The commander does not have that.
Oh, what does he get?
It is important to note that he does not have that. He gets, every time he is selected to shoot, so your shooting phase, Overwatch, whatever, you get 1 hit reroll, 1 wound reroll, and 1 damage reroll.
Oh, that's so nice.
It's pretty good. And then he's got the Voxnet like a Lehman Russ commander has, so his orders are good for 12 inches instead of 6.
Awesome.
And then he's got all of the same war gear options that a regular Rogel Dorn has, and the exact same profile: 10-inch move, T12, 2-up save, 18 wounds, and OC5.
Okay, that seems pretty good. I mean, just the sheer volume of wounds is on potentially that many tanks seems
right.
Really strong.
Rogel Dorns themselves did not change; they are exactly the same. Down to points, they're still only 240.
That's obnoxious. I hate that.
It is. I love it, but that's fine. So you've got 240 points for Rogel Dorn, and then you are only looking at an extra 25 points for the commander at 265.
Okay. Okay, so let me just try. I'm just trying to think of putting 6 Dorns on a table. Does that work? Like,
I mean,
imagine Crucible with 6
Sure.
Dorns, you know?
uh-huh.
Does it
Again,
work?
I, you know, like I said, I think it's a thing you can do. It's a thing that I was very seriously considering doing before I actually physically held the codex and like calmed down and looked at what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't think it's a good idea. 6 Dorns is 1,605 points.
Okay.
Which all said and done, not actually terrible. That gives you 395 points for scoring units, which is quite a bit in
That
Guard.
does feel like a lot of stuff, honestly.
But you're going to run into the same problem that, any tiny model count knights or chaos knights or whatever, but less, you've got 6 of them. And like,
Yeah.
so they sit somewhere in the middle, I guess, between like dog walking chaos knights or imperial knights. Like, you don't have 3 models, but you don't have 14.
Mm-hmm.
So, and their profile is pretty much somewhere in between those two anyway. So I don't think it's a good idea to put 6 down, but
it is an idea.
it is an idea. I really, really do like 2.
Okay.
And I think 3 even is feasible, but I don't think
certainly,
because you've still got like, they're still not everything, right? I mean, their profile's amazing and their weapons are amazing, but I have a hard time just going, yeah, I'm going to sit with flat damage 3. And don't get me wrong, flat damage 3 is amazing.
Yeah, it's great.
As one of my teammates who is a diehard Necron player, damage 3 is incredible and he hates it.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't personally like being just stuck at like damage 3 is the max. And so like you still have sense. Leman Russ commanders and you still have demolisher cannons and battle cannons and all that stuff that like I want to be able to spend points in other places. Like the Dorn is awesome, but I'm not gonna spend 1,600 points on them.
That's good, and especially you as a largely Drukhari player for the most of last season.
Yep.
You want stuff to play with and to do things with. Yeah.
Yep. I've tried to play Knights, I've tried to play Custodies, and I can't, like the tiny model count things. I can't deal with it. I understand how they work. I just don't enjoy it.
Okay. That makes sense. Cause like you have one bad shooting phase or one bad fight or one mischarge and everything feels bad for a while. Cause you're like, oh, well, that guy's just going to die now. Okay. Yep. I'm less concerned about the 6 Dorn list, but then I'll hit it and be sad.
Sure.
Okay. So what about the detachments? So everybody's been talking about Bridgehead, and obviously that was the Grotmus calendar, right?
Yeah. And it's incredible.
Yeah, it's real good. So what
Bridgehead's
about
crazy, but
what about the stuff in the book?
Yeah, so in the book, we've got Combined Arms, which is just the index detachment. So far as I'm aware, there's no changes there. It doesn't look like there is. And again, I didn't play Guard before, so I'm not super versed in what they used to be, but that's okay. We've got Siege Regiment, which is really the one that like most content creators have showcased. Because it's kind of, other than Combined Arms, it's the next like most generic, and that's the start of the battle round. You can send in the like bombardments from off screen and and do those kind of things. But it's good. It is. I think it's probably a little too, for me personally, a little too generic. I like to specialize a little bit more, but obviously generic is by no means a bad thing.
No, not at all.
It is good. It did receive, some changes and some small tweaks in FAQ before release, technically, because we go on pre-order this weekend. But those do exist. You've got the Mechanized Assault, which is all about your transports. Super simple. It is Astra Militarum models get +1 to wound in shooting after they disembark.
Oh, that seems very good.
It's not bad. It's definitely not bad. It's got
So that's like your Kazarkin detachment then?
no, we'll get there.
Really? Oh,
We'll
okay.
get there. No, this is, I don't know, maybe you're like classic infantry guard, right? Like 60 dudes, 6 chimeras, like
Oh,
just
okay.
kind of moving on. And I mean, it works for anything. It's Astra Militarum models.
Yeah.
So your dudes jumping out of Tauroxes or whatever else you decide to do, it all counts. But
Okay.
their stuff, like their strats are good. All 6 of their strats are 1 CP, which as we continue this show, you'll learn quickly from me that if all 6 of your strats are 1 CP, your detachment's probably good.
Yeah. Almost
So,
always.
you've got Hammer of the Emperor, which is the tank detachment, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, this is the Dorn detachment.
Yeah, it is. It is. The detachment rule is auto advance 6, and then for squadrons, so for your vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
You don't roll for advances; you just auto advance 6, and then when making the advance, you can move within engagement range of enemy models, but you cannot end in engagement range. So you just drive over dudes.
Fascinating. Oh, that is so weird.
It is, and it doesn't seem like a lot. Like, it's just on paper, it's probably the weakest detachment rule, but its stratagems are incredible.
Okay.
So it doesn't really matter. Like,
Okay.
you're like, yeah, auto advancing 6 on tanks is not going to come up often, but when it does come up, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, helps you get out onto the board as quickly as possible. So,
right,
I think that's good.
Yeah, it's got importantly, so it does have a 2 CP strat, unfortunately. But it's minus 1 damage in yeah, I know. It's minus 1 damage in shooting. But it is just Astra Militarum vehicle. So you can hit your Baneblade chassis with it. Because the Baneblade stuff, that like chassis, that body style does not have the squadron keyword, so they can't get orders. 4 of the 6 strats in this detachment name squadrons, so you can't use it. But they do get the detachment rule, or no, they don't get the detachment rule, excuse me, because it's squadron locked, so they don't get anything.
Okay.
Except for minus 1 damage.
Which is absurdly good.
It's pretty good. It is 2 CP. We have Creed, so it's 1. We also have just a ton. There's so much CP generation in this book.
Okay.
I played a test game into World Eaters with Hammer of the Emperor, and I had turn 2. End of turn 2, I had 5 CP, and I never dropped below 3. I just had I didn't know what to use them on.
Well, you were playing those poor melee boys with all the guns, so
I mean, yes, that was unfortunate. I only played 1 Rogaldorn because my other 2 were not built.
Okay, that's nice of you.
But I did have 2 Demolisher cannons.
And that does just about any infantry unit army dirty.
So, well, Demolisher cannons are really good into Angron, so
also that.
They probably shouldn't be, but they are. So,
the Demolisher cannon profile is just a piece of magic. Even isn't the new one kind of shitty though?
So yeah, it was changed. Previously, it was D6 plus 3 shots with blast. And as is like yours in Space Marines, all of your Demolisher cannons are D6 plus 3. Every Demolisher cannon in the game is D6 plus 3.
Yeah.
Except for ours now is D6 plus 1. Which there's some speculation that that's a typo.
Interesting.
But being that we already got a prior to release FAQ and that was not addressed, I am betting it's on purpose.
Yeah, it seems intentional, and I wouldn't be surprised if that cascaded down across the board. Vindicators are a problem.
Right. Well, and like we've seen that happen before where
Yeah.
one profile changes and everybody's like, "Oh, that's weird." And then as books come out, it changes across the game.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Even with D6+1, like they're still
so good.
They're so good.
Yeah, strength 14. Come on.
But the strats, I think, the three, well, you've got just +1 AP, which is always good.
Yep.
Always good.
Do you have a strip cover? Do you have access to strip cover?
In the army, yes. It's not a strat.
Okay. That's good.
The army has ways to do that.
Awesome.
We've got, let's see. This one is interesting. It's like cute. I actually killed my dude with it, but it's so in your command phase, a squadron unit that is below half strength. Until the end of the battle round, ranged weapons, excluding one-shot weapons, have hazardous, but you ignore modifiers to ballistic skill and hit rolls.
Whoa. That makes Dorns wild, huh?
So that's pretty cool. It makes Dorns wild. It also makes Demolisher Lehman Russes that can shoot in combat because that's their rule.
Oh, that's so good.
It makes them pretty cool. And then, you know, if you don't kill everything you're in combat with and you fail your hazardous checks and you kill yourself and you blow up, then you don't care.
Yeah.
So it's a weird trade-off. We have as two different strats, which I think is unbelievably good. We have advance and shoot.
Yep. Okay.
And we have fall back and shoot. And those are two different 1 CP strats.
Why are they different?
Because it's a good detachment.
That seems wild to me.
Yeah. And it
that should be locked to 1.
Like it came up in a turn. I was like, this guy's going to advance auto 6 because that's the detachment, and he's going to shoot that guy. And then this guy's going to fall back, and he's going to shoot.
Okay.
Amazing. The last one, which is super fun for anybody that really likes Chaos Knights.
You use to bust through walls?
Yeah, and this one is also vehicle. So your Baneblade can drive through a wall.
Oh, good. Okay.
For 1 CP, and it's movement or charge phase.
Oh, that's so good. All right. Yeah, that's awesome. Look, take it from me, someone who played Grey Knights a lot. Auto Advance 6 rules. I think it is really good. Anytime
that you can take the random factor out of the random based game that we are playing, anytime you can take that away, it's good.
Okay. So this is Nightmare Fuel. That's great.
It definitely has a lot of potential. The enhancements are okay, but
anything to really speak up? Was there like one that really stands out, or they all just?
Yeah, I mean, you've got 15 points for a 6-up Feel No Pain on a vehicle officer, so you can have a Dorn with a 6-up Feel No Pain.
That's not bad.
Which isn't bad since he lost his, blanking damage. So it kind of evens out.
Yeah.
Or 15 points for a vehicle officer. They reroll 1s to hit.
Oh, that's really nice, especially on a codex that hits on 4s, right?
Yeah. Oh. It's definitely nice. And they did all of our tank commanders are base 4. So even with your orders, you're only going to 3. Like, you're not doing anything crazy.
Okay, that's good. That feels a little more balanced.
Yeah.
All right.
The one I'm most excited about, which is the last one, so that's good. Because I'm probably going to be more long-winded than I should, and feel free to cut me off.
You're good.
It, of course, is 6 1 CP strats. And that is the recon element.
Oh, yeah, I heard about this one.
It's insane. I don't think enough people are talking about it because
really? Okay.
I think everybody is looking at new shiny Eldar.
Yep.
And yes, admittedly, a phenomenal new model range. And people are still kind of looking at Bridgehead Assault because, yes, it is very good. And Uppy Downy is amazing, and 6-inch deep strikes and all that. Like, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I think this detachment's insane. So we've got the Masters of Camouflage rule, and that is Astra Militarum walkers and regiment models. always have the benefit of cover.
Pardon?
And if they are receiving the benefit of cover for another reason, then you improve your save by another 1.
Oh, so if you have a walker, say you and like an armored sentinel, what's their normal save?
Sentinels are 4.
So they're 4 up save. You put them in. They're no matter what, they're in cover. But if they're also
they're a
in
3 up
cover,
save.
they become a 2 up save.
Effectively a 2 up save. Yeah.
Wow.
Also importantly, scions become a 2 up save.
Okay.
Or
gross.
even if we don't care about getting cover from another thing, scions, Kasrkin, sentinels, all of those are 3 up saves in the middle of the board. They are Space Marines.
Interesting.
You are running around and deep striking with 65-point Space Marines.
That seems a little crazy.
Now, obviously, anybody that can ignore cover and take cover away will just invalidate your rule. But when they can't do that, it's pretty crazy. And then we've got 6 strats, and an astounding 5 of them are reactive.
No. Okay, let's hear it.
So I'm going to start with the one that is not reactive. I think it's super good. It is. It's called Crack Shots. It's your shooting phase for a platoon unit, which is really your infantry blobs.
Okay.
Until the end of the phase, ranged weapons equipped by models in your unit have precision.
Oh, so you could just assassinate characters at range.
Yeah, you can have 20 guardsmen plus we'll say plus the command squad. So 25 guardsmen will give you 3 melt-a-gun shots and 2 plasma guns. So 4 plasma gun shots.
Okay.
And then all of the flashlights, and the whole thing gets precision.
1 CP.
1 CP.
That's great, because when I think of Vanguard Space Marines, I can get precision for all melee weapons at 2 CP. So love that.
Right.
Okay.
Well,
okay.
and does that strat for Vanguard Space Marines, does that target your unit or mine?
Does it target the unit, or you mean the
unit or the target?
It targets the unit, because it gives your unit the ability, the precision.
That's good. Yeah. Because so does this. It gives my unit precision, so you can split fire.
Oh no!
And kill multiple characters. Notably, just like off the top of my head, you can kill like technomancers out of wraith squads.
That's so good.
You can do. I mean, there's tons of stuff you can do, right? You can kill apothecaries if people run those. I don't think they do, but you can do that. You can snipe out lieutenants. You can do whatever you want. It's pretty good.
Do you have a 6-inch?
Since it natively, the army does have a 6-inch deep strike. Yes.
So that would be just the what you calls the jump pack boys.
Yes, which are not jump packs. They're weird, but yes, they have the Tempestus Aquilons, the kill team. They have a 6-inch deep strike naturally. The detachment does not have a separate one. That is in Bridgehead.
Gotcha. So is there a Tempestus Aquilon? Do you feel like, let's say you were to try to go and assassinate with the Aquilons, a character model, do you think that unit has the stuff to do it? I have yet to actually run into it personally on the table. So
I honestly don't know. I'm going to say probably not. Especially if you're going to look at like the likes of Space Marine characters, almost certainly not. They're not going to kill Phoenix Lords.
Okay.
They'll probably kill like Altarks, any Drukari character. They're not killing Custodes or anything like that. Like they're, the small T3 stuff, the four and less wounds maybe.
Okay, so it's not like, it's not like it's just an end all be all. Like can just very easily take a character out. So that's a good thing.
No,
it will mostly require some amount of like setup and a skilled pilot to put a unit in position to actually eliminate the characters that you want to target.
Consistently, yes.
Okay,
I think so. Well, like Casterkin absolutely will kill characters, but they're not deep striking, right?
Right. Yeah. Good luck getting them there.
Yeah, and then 10 scions outside of Bridgehead when you're more than 9 inches away. Like you can mitigate that as an opponent to make that not happen. So
yeah. Okay. Okay.
But yeah, so then we've got draw them out is 1 CP. It's the same as everyone else in the game. It is a reactive move.
What units get a flat 6 versus a D6?
It's only flat 6. There is no roll.
Oh, that's nice.
It is just platoon locked, so it's essentially all of your infantry.
So just dudes. Okay.
Yep, and it's the normal. If you start or end a normal advance or fallback, then they just make a normal move of 6. It's pretty
excellent. Good. Yeah, that's great.
We've got Scramble Field. At the start of your opponent's reinforcement step, 1 Astra Militarum infantry unit uses it, and until the end of the phase, enemy units that are set up on the battlefield as reserves cannot be set up within 12 inches of your unit.
Oh, so you
can effectively I've not sat and actually done the math, but I am aware of how big 20 guardsmen are. If you do it correctly, you can block out something close to 3.5 feet of the board.
That's insanity to me.
Because it's not one model, it's the whole unit.
Yeah. Obviously infiltrators with a blown up character, that's really good. But they don't go anywhere except your deployment zone. Whereas you could just be like, oh, I'm going to march this unit up and it's your turn 3.
And I don't have to do it until it's your reinforcement step. So you go, you draw your secondaries and you're like, oh, look, it's established locus or behind enemy lines or whatever. And you've got stuff in deep strike. And then I go, okay, now I'll use it.
Oh, no, that's so good. Okay.
Oh, no. It's amazing.
Is it locked to dudes or is it any unit?
Is infantry.
Infantry. Okay, cool.
Which, you can use it on Bulgren, I guess. I don't think that's a good idea, but you can technically.
I don't think anyone takes Bulgren anymore, right? Aren't they too expensive?
Well, I don't think they're too expensive, but they don't benefit from anything because they're not.
Oh.
They can't get orders or anything. So.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay.
What's next? Got start of your opponent's charge phase. It's Tanglefoot grenades.
Oh, so just reduce charge by 2, right?
Yep, reduce charge by 2.
I hate that.
It is not cumulative with any other negative modifiers. So,
that's good. What a great thing.
Basilisks are also -2 to charge. You cannot be -4.
Wonderful.
So, but it is a Astra Militarum grenade unit, as it should be.
Okay, so just specifically those that can actually hook a grenade.
Yep, which is pretty much everybody. But
makes sense.
It's there. We've got Scouting Outriders. End of your opponent's turn. 1 Astra Militarum mounted or Astra Militarum walker from your army that is wholly within 10 inches of 1 or more battlefield edges and not in engagement range goes into strategic reserve.
Oh, so you get an uppy downy
on Sentinels.
That is seemingly very good.
On Sentinels and horses, because it is mounted and walker. You cannot do it with infantry.
Oh, that sounds fascinating with mounted.
It is very, very cool.
Okay.
I think it is.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Okay.
And wholly within 10 of a battlefield edge is pretty easy.
Yeah. There's still only ever units that walk on edge, though. So
Correct.
You still are limited to your 6-inch return, right? Okay.
Yes. Yeah. You're still coming back on from a board edge, but just the ability to have that as an option.
Yeah, that is cool. I like that.
And then the last one is my favorite, and it's super weird, but it is start of your opponent's shooting phase.
Mm-hmm.
One infantry or mounted unit. Until the end of the phase, they get a 6-up feel no pain.
Okay.
And each time an enemy model makes an attack, if your unit is the closest eligible target, they suffer -1 to hit.
Pardon?
So if I put, yes, it sounds super weird. So if I put my infantry squad in the middle of the board and I just string them out,
okay,
then start of your shooting phase, I spend 1 CP. They get a 6-up feel no pain. Cool. But anything in your army that shoots at anything in my army, if that infantry squad is the closest eligible target to your unit, then you are -1 to hit.
Okay. So,
even if you shoot them.
Oh, even if you shoot them?
Yep. It's just period. If you shoot anything and they are closest, then you are -1 to hit, and then they also have a feel no pain, just for fun.
Oh, that's so funny, because that means you could just
courageous diversion. They're just hooping and hollering at you.
You could just throw a guard unit out front. They stand there while you're setting up, and then you at least get the benefit of -1 to hit for their whole army.
Right.
That is so fun.
And even then, just your regular guardsmen in the open with cover have a 4-up save.
Oh yeah, that's right. They always have cover. They don't have stealth. They always have cover. Is that correct?
Right. That is correct. Yeah, they don't have stealth, just cover.
But they effectively get stealth when they're the unit.
With this, your whole army gets stealth. It's
awesome. That's cool.
Yeah, and then we've got our enhancements. Obviously, there's 4 of them. 2 of them are actually good. 1 of them is okay, and I think 1 of them is useless, but that's okay. So we've got a redeploy for 3 infantry units.
Very good.
Great. And then obviously you can go into strat reserve regardless of how much you already have there, like everybody else.
Yep.
We've got the bearer gains scout 6, so you can put Castellans with Casterkin, and the Casterkin can still scout because the Castellan gains scout.
Cool.
And then the one that's okay, we've got tripwires. Each time an enemy infantry or mounted unit ends a normal, advance, charge, or fallback move within 9 of the bearer's unit, you roll a d6 on a 4-up until the start of the next turn. The enemy is stunned, and while they are stunned, all attacks made are at -1 to hit.
Oh.
It's okay. It's okay. It's good. It's just, it's a 4-up, but it's not once a game, so that's cool. It's every time that it happens, but it is.
Yeah, it's a direct counter to what people would generally want to do against you, which is just get in there,
Right. Yeah, but it does only hurt. For the opposing, the enemy units, it's only infantry and mounted, so I'm not doing anything to vehicles or monsters. It's just
okay.
So that's fine. Yeah. And then the one that I think is actually bad is once per battle at the start of any phase, you can use the enhancement. If you do, you select an enemy unit within 8 inches to take a battle shock test.
That's it, huh?
Oh, I'm sorry. Excluding monsters or vehicles.
All right, that's pretty whack.
Yeah, so once per game, I can force you to take a battle shock test. There's no negative. There's no modifiers. I'm just saying, hey,
battle shock.
Roll these useless dice for me real quick.
Fascinating.
Just one time. It's not good.
I'm getting really strong flashbacks to the first company Space Marine detachment, which is nothing but once per game abilities. The entire detachment.
That's fair. I won't complain about it because
it's a treasure trove. Otherwise,
it's a treasure. All right, everybody has to have something that's useless, right? That's fine. That's okay. So
all right.
I think the detachment's incredible, especially with the points, and then certain units that have the regiment keyword, I think really change some things. So what do you think is the strongest combo? And then we'll move on to the last detachment. Or is there more? That is the last attachment.
Oh, it is. Okay, so what would you feel? What do you feel is the best combo? Gotcha.
So I mean, obviously, I think Castrican are incredible. 3-up save.
Yes.
Castrican are already good in any guard detachment. Castrican are great. Right. And then now 3-up save Castrican, even better.
Even better.
Right? Like, there's no reason to not be happy about 3-up save Castrican.
Definitely not.
Especially when in that detachment you can give them, if you want, and I don't know if you do or not, but you can give them a Castellan, which gives them sustained hits, and give him scout, so they're not losing anything, and they're gaining sustained.
Yep.
Which nowhere else in the book can you do that.
No.
Which is really, really cool.
That is very good.
And especially if you do put an officer with them, because you give them an order, and then once per battle round with their rule at the start of any phase, they can select an order that they are not already given, and they count as having that one as well. So you can, like, or command phase, move. You've got 9-inch moving Castrican after they scouted 6. They can move 9, and then you go start of the shooting phase. I'm going to first rank fire, second rank fire, and then now here's 1,000,000 shots.
Here's 1,000,000 shots, and by the way, do you have a character in there? It's dead.
Right. Well, and they also have sustain because of the Castellan.
Oh.
Very, very, very good.
That seems real strong.
They are very good, but also you don't have to do that. You can just put them in a Chimera and scout a Chimera for fun.
Oh, yeah. That's right, because the whole unit has scout, so it gives it to the transport.
Yep, because it's a dedicated transport. Pretty good.
Okay, that's juicy, man.
The new Krieg combat engineers also have a 4-up save. Yep. So they are a 3-up save in the open. Okay, which is also pretty cool. Also pretty cool. They also have scout 6. Whatever.
Wasn't there a unit in the Guard Codex that was unbelievably busted with mortals? Did they hotfix that yet?
I'm gonna assume that they. Oh well, I mean, technically the combat engineers can put out quite a bit, because you've got, they can do grenades for free, so you have grenades, and then they have the remote mine, which on a 3-up is D6 mortal wounds, to an enemy unit within 12.
Okay.
Or if it is a vehicle or fortification, which doesn't matter. So if it's a vehicle, then it is D3
bunkers.
It's D3 plus 3 mortals instead of D6.
Okay.
The Castrican can also do it. They have their own one. It's D3 mortals or 2 D3 mortals to vehicles.
Just 9th edition flashbacks. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That all sounds
more. I don't know. There might be more that I've missed, which is perfectly fine. I'd love to find it.
Cool. I think there's something. I'll ask somebody eventually.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So that sounds scary.
I guess. Sorry. So the thing that I have not mentioned was the things that have the regiment keyword.
Oh, yes.
Obviously, all of the mounted, the Rough Riders and the new Death Riders. They have the regiment keyword, and then they are also mentioned in some of the strats as our mounted units.
Okay.
What I think is secretly really, really good is the Field Ordnance Battery. They are infantry and also regiment.
Is that just the big gun?
It's the gun from the
Krieg?
9th edition army box.
Oh, the little guys.
The 2 double guns. Yeah. Now the new one, the Krieg artillery team, does also have regiment and infantry.
Oh.
Both of those also have grenades for absolutely no reason except Tanglefoot grenades.
That's great.
So that's pretty strong. It's also important. These 2, the artillery team and the field ordnance battery, their indirect weapons have heavy.
Yeah.
Whereas all of the tanks in the codex that have indirect lost the heavy keyword.
But heavy doesn't supersede the actual rule, right? The indirect rule?
So the indirect rule is -1 to hit, and 1s, 2s, and 3s always fail.
Right.
These weapons naturally hit on 5s.
Oh, so it gives you 4s. Okay.
Well, and then -1, so it keeps you at 5s.
Yeah.
But then once you get an order, you'll go to 4s.
Oh, stellar.
So whereas the other, weapons don't, like the tanks and stuff have to have orders and can't do anything else because they don't have heavy. It's like basilisks and manticores and all that stuff. All of them lost the heavy keyword.
Yeah.
So
cool.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Sentinels are still great. The armored sentinels are rerolling wounds against monsters and vehicles, which is important. You just throw some las cannons on there and move on.
Yep.
The scout sentinels have the exact same rule that they had before, except they removed the useless indirect sentence that doesn't work anymore.
Is that the reroll 1s to hit or +1 to hit?
So they're reroll 1s to hit.
Okay.
Yeah, you select a unit within 18 that's visible, and then all of your guard units get reroll 1s to hit against that unit.
Very cool.
Very, very good. They used to previously give indirect weapons +1 to hit. They got rid of that because that doesn't do anything.
Yeah. So does this detachment run 3 armored and 3 standard?
I think 3 scout definitely. Okay. I kind of like 2x2 for armored. I'm not sure that you need 3 separate units.
Okay.
And I'm also just not a huge fan of individual las cannons. So just having some extra things, I think, changes some stuff.
That makes sense.
The field ordnance batteries also, their special rule, if they have an order and remain stationary, which is a weird combo, being that they are always going to remain stationary.
Yeah.
Because they move 3 and have indirect.
Right.
And then they're gonna have an order, otherwise they're gonna hit on 5s, and we don't want that. No. So basically, they just always have sustained 1.
Very good. Yeah,
very, very good. So
okay, this detachment sounds really hard to deal with. It sounds like trying to play against Space Marine Vanguard, where Vanguard has a ton of responses to everything that you do, and they're just annoying to deal with.
Right, and then just roughly double the amount of units that are on the table.
Yeah, just do that.
Give or take, right?
Give or take,
yeah. And then you can still just go, because Guard are, cheap as shit, you can just go, hey, here's also 2 Dorns and a Lehman Russ, just because you need some stuff that kills. And it's just a bunch of dudes and some sentinels, and it's a ton of scouting. And then you've still got your tanks that are still going to kill stuff whenever they decide to step out and see something.
Okay. All right. I'm sold. It sounds really good. Really good.
I think it's great.
Yeah. Now, before we draw up any conclusions, let's start talking about Aeldari a little bit. Now, there are 9 detachments for Aeldari, so we're not going to talk about all 9.
Yeah, there's a ton. There's really too many. But that's
probably a few too many. Yeah. So let's, as a Space Marine player, I'm saying that. Let's talk about instead the 2 or 3 that when you saw it, you're like, I would like to play this detachment. Let's talk about those 3, and then we'll jump into Guard versus Aeldari. Where do you think they'll be?
Sure. So what I'm going to do is I'll point out. I really like those. I'll point out. I'm going to say 3. Yeah.
Cool.
2 of them, I think, are just that's what I am personally excited to play. And then 1 is what everyone's talking about. So
great.
We'll get that out of the way first, because everybody who cares about Eldar already knows about it. That's Aspect Host.
Okay.
I think Aspect Host is unbelievably strong. It is Aspect Warriors and the Avatar of Cain. Every time
yes.
they are selected to shoot or fight, you can choose reroll ones to hit or reroll ones to wound. Really good. Just really
good. Yep.
Their strats are great. Their enhancements are great. All of the actually all of the Aspect Warrior units are good now. To include Dark Reapers, who previously were dog shit. They are good. Dark Reapers are good. Shining Spears are also Aspect Warriors and good. Dire Avengers are insane. Like, it's just there's not really a bad option.
I'm actually really frustrated that Shining Spears are so much better than they were, because I already thought they were good.
I really liked them previously. I thought they were cool. They were just overshadowed because there was so much stuff that was good.
Fair enough.
That nobody really took them, but like, they're crazy. They're so good.
Yeah.
Now they're so good. They were good. Now they're crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I keep building Aspect Host lists, and I just keep running out of points because everything is good and you want all of it.
That makes sense. And that's what everyone's saying the trap is with that list, right? Because you're going to be like, oh, I want 9 characters, and I'm going to end up with 6 units, and they just die.
Yeah, because that's what everybody, they're like, I want all of the new Phoenix Lords and all of their dudes. And you're like, great, that's 6 characters and like 1,500 points. So what else are you doing?
But you could play that detachment in a multitude of ways because of the way that Phoenix Lords play, right? They're not all playing super similarly. So you could have a little faster list versus a super shootier list, like with the fire dragons and whatnot. Kind of like a Space Marine setup, right? Where Space Marines can play a multitude of ways and a multitude of detachments. This is taking that same idea, but in one detachment, right?
Yeah, you're just going to do the same. You're just going to do the thing in one detachment, right? Like, if you want to be melee, then you're like, well, here's all of my Howling Banshees and Striking Scorpions and Shining Spears.
Right.
And then if you want to shoot, then you've got your Swooping Hawks and your Warp Spiders and Fire Dragons and Dire Avengers. But I think you take Dire Avengers all the time, no matter what.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you feel that it is a difficult detachment to grasp?
To grasp? No, I think it's super simple because you just choose whatever you need, right? You just go, do I want to reroll hits or wounds? In the scope of Eldar, I think wounds is probably the right choice 90% of the time.
Yeah, because they usually hit on 3s anyway, if not 2s, because Aspect Warriors, right? Yeah.
3s or 2s or whatever you're going to do, right? Like, it just doesn't matter.
Okay.
But yeah, that's the one that is just like obviously standout. Everybody looks at it. It's amazing. There's not really a question about it. Like, it's very strong.
No.
Then we have what I'm going to say second most excited to play with. And the only reason that it's second is because I don't own the models.
Oh.
And that is Spirit Conclave. That is the Wraith Constructs.
Yes, this one looks so cool.
It's in my opinion, it's definitely the coolest. Like, far and away the coolest detachment. It's good. It is actually very good. Wraith Blades and Wraith Guard become battle line. Awesome.
Mm-hmm. So and ridiculous.
Then you get Vengeful Dead tokens, which are judgment tokens.
Oh.
So every time a Psyker unit from your army is destroyed by an enemy unit, that enemy unit gets a Vengeful Dead token. And then every time a Wraith Construct model from your army makes an attack that targets a unit with 1 or more Vengeful Dead tokens, they get +1 to hit and wound. So it's 2 judgment tokens.
It's literally the same army roll. Okay.
It is, but you do only get it when your Psychers die. So you're not gonna. It's not like Votann, and not every single unit in your opponent's army is going to have them.
I gotcha. Okay.
But it's real good. And then all of your Psychers gain Spirit Guides as an aura, which is a 12-inch aura that goes to Wraith Blades, Wraith Guard, and Wraith Lords, and it gives them battle focus.
Oh.
Which is the army rule that they do not have naturally.
Oh.
Super good.
They get all their movement tricks.
They get all the movement tricks. And the no Overwatch and whatever else they decide that they want.
And they're a bunch of big tough boys.
And they're a bunch of big tough boys. They are max squad 5 now.
That's good.
So there's no more 10-man Wraith Guard running around. Honestly, fair.
Yeah, that needed to happen.
But they are battle line, so you can still technically, I don't know that you can afford it, but you can put 60 Wraith units, Wraith models on the table, because you can do 30 Wraith Guard and 30 Wraith Blades. Because they're battle line, you get 6 units instead of 3.
And that's just a lot of 2-up 3 wounds or 4 wounds?
3. They are T6 3 wounds. They did, all of the Wraith units in the Codex lost 1 point of toughness from the index.
Yeah.
So they're T6, which is fair. T7 was kind of ridiculous.
A little bit, yeah. And they don't have an invuln, correct?
The Wraith Blades, if you give them axes, can have an invul, but that's it.
Okay, so they're more or less Gravis Marines with better guns.
Yep.
Okay.
Pretty much.
Cool.
Pretty much.
Cool. What about the bigger Wraith stuff? That stuff seemed pretty good.
I think Wraith Lords are crazy. Wraith Lords are super good. We've talked about this a little bit already.
Yeah.
Wraith Lords are good already. In this detachment, I think they're insane. So you've got, at 140 points, you get a Wraith Lord, who is, let's look at his profile really quick so that I can not mess this up. Wraith Lord, 140 points, gets you move 8, T10, 2-up save, 10 wounds on a walker monster, not a character.
Not a vehicle.
Not a vehicle, just a monster and a walker.
Oh, so it's Votan's worst enemy. Okay.
Yes. OC3, which doesn't really matter.
No.
They get 2 Bright Lances, or whatever else you want, but I think the answer is 2 Bright Lances.
Probably, yes.
Which have not changed. They are Strength 12, AP 3, D6 plus 2 damage. 36-inch range, 1 shot, but you've got 2 of them.
Okay.
And then you get a Ghost Glaive, which is 4 attacks in melee, strength 10, AP 3, D6 plus 1 damage, or 8 attacks for a sweep that is 7-2-2. 2 damage sweeps are real good.
Like, unbelievably so, actually.
Yeah. If the Wraith Lord is within 12 of a Psyker on top of getting the buff from the detachment, this is just his ability, you improve his ballistic skill and weapon skill by 1, so he hits on 3s, because naturally they hit on 4s.
Oh, okay. That at least feels a little bit better so far. Okay.
Yep. But they get +1 to their weapon skill and ballistic skill, and their leadership becomes 6.
Oh.
Their leadership naturally is 8, so it's a pretty significant jump.
Oh, fascinating. Okay.
And then if there's a Vengeful Dead token, then they get +1 to hit and wound. Their ability is their weapon skill, so they become 2s.
Oh. So if something is grudged, they're hitting on 2s and wounding on 2s most
Probably
of the time.
2s, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
And then also, because why not have more rules?
Yeah, let's add to it. Yeah.
At the start of the battle, you select one of the following keywords, which is all of the ones that matter: infantry, monster, mounted, vehicle. And then every time your Wraith Lord makes an attack that targets one of those units, you reroll hits and wounds of 1.
I hate it.
And if you take 3 Wraith Lords, you can choose a different target for all 3 of them, because it's the Wraith Lord's specific ability.
Wow! That's so good!
Yeah! And you use a Farseer for guide, which also gives +1 to hit, so you don't even need a Vengeful Dead token. You're just going to hit on 2s.
Are the Farseers still doing the same thing where they always succeed, pretty much unless you roll a 1?
No. They just got rid of that's not we don't roll anymore.
Oh, it's just an ability now?
Yeah, it's just at the end of the movement phase, select an enemy unit within 18 invisible, and then until the start of the next command phase, all friendly Aeldari units, when they make attacks, so it is shooting and fighting, they add +1 to their hit.
Oh, so -1 to wound as a almost freebie goes away?
Let's see, because that's the Skyrunner. So let's see if his changed. No, it just is a freebie now.
Oh, okay.
It's just that's on the Farseer on bike.
Gotcha. Well, at least they're not
yeah.
messing with us anymore and pretending that it's on a chance it doesn't happen.
Right. Yeah. So that's Misfortune, which is the I select you. It's the same thing, 18 inches invisible, and then you are -1 to your wound rolls.
Okay. Yeah, that's really good. All right.
Which is cool. It's cool.
Yeah. Super good.
Spirit Seers no longer join units.
Okay.
They are not leaders anymore.
Okay.
But if they are within 3 inches of a Wraith construct, which is all of the Wraith things,
yes.
then they get Lone Up. So that's cool.
That's nice. Okay, they're Tech Marines. Got it.
Yes, they're Tech Marines, and they can give sustained hits.
Ooh.
And they heal D3 wounds to Wraith constructs in the command phase.
Juicy. Given the extra ability to just grant sustain is nice.
Yeah, and it is. Let me see, so that we're not getting this wrong here. Once per turn in your movement phase, when it starts or ends a move, select a Wraith construct unit within 6, excluding Titanic, so you're not hitting your Wraith Knight with it.
Yeah.
And then one enemy unit visible to the Spirit Seer until the start of the next movement phase. Weapons equipped by models in your friendly unit have sustained 1, so you can give it to it's everything. But you can give it to your shooting. You can give it to your Wraith Blades that have 5 attacks.
Fun.
Like there's some cool stuff.
So does this detachment actually help the Wraith Knight?
No. I mean, a little bit. Like a couple of the strats do target the Wraith Knight, which helps.
Okay.
It's cool. But the detachment. Let me see the rule. Yeah, the rule itself does not. Well, they do get They do benefit from the Vengeful Dead tokens.
Okay.
But they do not. They do not gain battle focus.
Which, if they did, that would be a war crime. So, okay.
Yeah, that seems fair. And then, they've got... there is a -1 damage strat, but it does not hit the Titanic units.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at it, it looks like pretty much all of them do. There's one... Oh, okay. There's one strat that lets you count the range to get the detachment bonus, the 6 inches for whatever.
Yeah.
It changes it from 6 to 12, but also does not hit the Wraith Knights. But everything else pretty much does. So
okay, is there a Wraith unit that we haven't addressed before we move on?
I don't think so. Everything's pretty much. Well, I mean, the Wraiths are very different than they were before. The Wraith Blades are the same, but the Wraith Guard are the same. There's no more of their shooting you back with pistols that aren't pistols shenanigans.
Thank goodness for that.
They can fall back and shoot, and they get +1 to hit if they're next to a Psyker, and that's it.
But their guns really haven't changed, so they're still strength 14.
It's strength 14, AP 4, D6 +1 damage, but they are not devastating wounds anymore.
Thank goodness for that.
So that's okay.
Yeah, and with their one shot, it's okay. That's good.
Yep. Yeah, they're fine. They're 170 points. They're fine.
Yep.
So
okay, cool. All right, what's your other detachment that you think that you would like to play?
What I am most excited to play and working on just finishing, I've got I don't know, 15 models left to build, which sounds like a lot, but it's not because it's just Eldar infantry.
Yeah.
It's Ghosts of the Webway, and that's Harlequins.
Ooh, okay. Let's hear it.
And it's so good because they gave them back to me, and that makes me happy. I played Harlequins competitively in 8th edition when it was 18 bikes, and I haven't touched them since. So, your troops become battle line, and they change their OC to 2, which makes sense.
Okay.
You can include 3 or up to 3 Death Jesters, Shadow Seers, and Troop Masters in your army. They changed it for the whole traveling player rule for Eldar got changed in the codex, so now you can only bring 1 Jester, Shadow Seer, and Troop Master. Unless you're playing this detachment, you can bring 3.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. The detachment rule, when Harlequins make a charge, Harlequin units, Harlequin models make a charge, they can move through enemy units. It's fine. The detachment rule doesn't really matter. We just care about having enough characters and making troops battle line, and then strats and enhancements, and just the base datasheet buffs that Harlequins got. That's what we're looking at.
Okay, so they're no longer super weak, right? They're actually good now?
No, they're actually good now.
Oh, good.
Importantly, I think every single Harlequin unit changed in some way.
Okay.
And not a single Harlequin unit went up in points. They are all the same points cost that they were in the index.
That's
sorry,
awesome.
I lied to you. The Troop Master went up, and that's it.
Okay.
And that's it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Very good. There's 4 enhancements. All of them are good. Which is a wild place to start.
Yep.
You can do the troop for 25 points. You can give a Troop Master and his unit. They become they become assault intercessors with jump packs.
Oh,
so they do 4-up mortals after they charge.
Cool. Impact mortals are fun.
You can have a Harlequin unit of 12 plus the Troop Master, so it's 13, which pretty much means 25 points for 6 mortal wounds every time you charge.
Yeah, but would they ever? Do they make it out of fights?
Yes, they do now.
Okay. Okay.
Yes. So we've got 15 points that can go on any Harlequin unit, and that is when an enemy unit other than a monster or vehicle falls back, they have to make a desperate escape test, and if they are battle shocked, they do it at an additional -1.
Oh.
Super good. Pretty
Yeah,
good. It's what
pretty good.
As a Drukhari player, that's what witches do, and it comes up a lot.
Yeah, often.
So it's pretty good. 20 points on a Death Jester.
Okay.
If he targets a unit below half strength, every successful hit is a crit.
No, stop.
Yeah. Which, now that we don't have fate dice, is pretty good.
Yeah, that's not bad, considering he has sustained 1 million, right?
Sustain 3, yes.
Okay.
Is one of the rules you can give him. He still has the same 3 choices. And then 15 points on a Shadow Seer gives him and his whole unit infiltrate.
All right, that's gross.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
That's pretty good. All right.
Again, reminding 12 troops. So.
Okay.
12 infiltrating troops.
Yeah.
So we've got 6 stratagems, and they're all 1 CP.
Of course they are.
We've got, it's wild. We've got, where were we here? We've got any phase for a Harlequin character. It's a stand back up.
Oh.
With half of their number of wounds remaining. So really, it's 2, because most of them are 3 wounds.
Can it only be cast on one character once per game?
Yes, each character once per game.
Okay, that's fine.
So you can use it on all of your characters, but only once.
Mm-hmm.
The fight phase, after the enemy selects their targets, one of the Harlequin units that was selected as a target gets a 4-up fight. It's 4-up fight on death. It's good.
Okay.
Right, it's good. It's 1 CP.
Fine.
Yeah, it's 1 CP, so it's a 4-up. If it was free, it'd be 2 CP, and that's just the way the game works.
Yep. Yeah, that's fine.
Exit the stage is end of your opponent's fight phase. One Harlequin unit that is not within engagement range gets put in strategic reserve.
Cool. So they just get an uppie. Got it.
Yep, they just get an uppie. Uppies are good.
Uppies are good. No matter what detachment, uppies are good.
Yeah. There is fallback, shoot, and charge on a Harlequin unit.
Okay.
Very good.
Yep.
For a troop unit only, so just the normal infantry dudes, it is a reactive move of flat 6.
Okay.
So same restrictions, normal move, advance, fallback.
Yeah.
But it is only on troops.
Okay.
So that's that. And then the one that I think is potentially the best. End of your opponent's charge phase, a Harlequin infantry or Harlequin mounted that is within 6 of one or more enemy units and would be eligible to charge if it were your charge phase.
Yeah.
That your unit now declares a charge that only targets one or more of those enemy units, and you resolve that charge. Note that even if this charge is successful, you do not receive charge bonuses.
So you just get to make a charge if a unit wasn't charged during your opponent's charge phase.
Correct.
That's a really good rule. I've seen that pop up in multiple places.
Effectively, it means that Harlequins have 2 heroic interventions, one of which can target something that didn't charge.
That's right. Yeah, the Lion's Blade Task Force has that same detachment or same ability.
Very good.
Super good. Yeah.
And it doesn't matter that we're not getting charge bonuses because it counts as an ongoing fight, so I'm going to fight first anyway.
Oh, yeah, that's right. No, that's so good.
So the only thing, it won't trigger the troop master that does mortals will not do mortals because you don't get the bonus, I guess, but
don't.
Who cares?
I mean, I think there's a rule somewhere that talks about charge bonuses specifically relating to fights first.
Yes, I guess. Yeah, I mean, if that's what it's talking about, then yeah, they don't get fights first, and that's fine.
Right, but I think all others will come into play.
That seems good.
So, I mean, we should probably clarify that, but anyway.
Yeah, probably.
Okay. Yeah, that detachment sounds a lot like you in the way that you like to play the game.
Yeah, it's so good. The Death Jester has the same rules. After he shoots, you have to take a battle shock test, and it is at -1.
Okay.
As long as he hit you.
Yeah.
And then you select whether or not he has ignore cover, precision, or sustain 3. He still has 3 shots. His gun is 6.22. The only downside, I think, is that it's 24 inches, which is just kind of awkward.
It is, because then he could be ran down. But if it wasn't run downable, that would just be busted.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair. We've got the Solitaire is roughly the same. He still has Blitz, which is once per game. When he makes a normal move, he gets plus 2d6 and plus 3 attacks. It's not advancing. He has a 12-inch move, and then he gets plus 2d6 to his move characteristic.
Oh, so he just potentially moves 24 inches.
Well, and then he also just naturally has advance and charge, so it can be, in one turn, if you count moving, blitzing, and charging, he can move 12 plus 5d6.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
It's pretty cool. He does not have a 3-up invul anymore. It is a 4.
Okay, that's good. I'll take that.
But he does have fight first, lone op, and stealth.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, it's a character in the Aeldari Codex. Yep. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. You can only have one. He can't be your warlord, right? Like it's
normal.
He's got 9 attacks.
Okay.
Hits on 2s. It's 6.22 with precision.
Okay.
And on your blitz turn, it's 12 attacks.
Ooh.
He's
so
very good. He's very good. He's expensive. He's 115 points. Which I say, as an elf player, that's expensive. I'm aware, as a Space Marine player, you would love to spend 115 points for that profile.
Yeah, that'd be really
for us,
cool.
it's expensive. So.
Well, to be fair, like we have some really good profiles at less 115 and less. Like we have Azrael. He's additional CP a turn. He's 115,
Right.
and even
You've
like
got Lieutenant with combi weapon is what, 85?
70.
70? Sure.
Yeah.
Why not?
And then the closest comparable is like the Judiciar, and he's 75. So
yes, and he's good. He's so
yeah. And that's counterplay to against that unit with a a charge, like an interrupt charge or whatever. So okay.
We've got Troop Masters. Sorry.
Oh yeah, let's see him
again. Tell me to stop when you need me to stop.
Keep going, buddy.
We've got Troop Masters. They reroll ones to hit and wound on melee, but only for themselves, not for their unit. Which is fine because they're good. What they give to their unit is a 6-inch consolidate, 6-inch pile-in and consolidate instead of 3.
So
and
good.
it is a pile-in and consolidate that does not have to end to the closest unit.
Wait. So they get 9th edition pile-in and consolidate.
It says, it can move up to 6 instead of 3. In addition, it does not need to end that move closer to the closest enemy model, provided it ends as close as possible to the closest enemy unit. So they go to the closest unit instead of the closest model.
Okay, that's cool. Love that.
But it's a 6, which is wild.
And is it for both pile-in and consolidate?
It is pile-in and consolidate.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay.
Yeah, it means your 13 models will essentially always fight.
Oh, that's so good. Okay.
His weapons are damaged too, which is great. And then he gained it because troops also gained it. Their weapons just are dev wounds now. They don't have to. The troop master used to give them dev wounds. That was the only way to do it. So now the troops just have dev wounds, just on their profile, but they are only 1 damage. But that's okay because it's dev wounds.
Okay.
The troops have a brand new ability for them. At the start of the fight phase, you select one of the following abilities for the unit until the end of the phase. You can either each model in this unit. Okay, so each model in this unit makes there's a typo there. Either way, so you can reroll hit rolls of 1.
Okay.
You can add 1 to the wound roll, or you can be -1 to hit.
Okay.
And it's each unit at the start of the fight phase, so you can do whatever you need.
That is very good.
It's very good.
It's so many options. Like
it's so many options.
It's incredible. You just have a detachment of choices, which is
and then flip belts. Flip belts are war gear now. Doesn't matter; they're free. But we ignore vertical distance when determining total distance that you move in a normal advanced fallback or charge.
Oh, very cool.
So they don't have to go over things.
They just fly straight through stuff. Okay, cool.
They updated their war gear. So when you take the full 12, because it's 11 players and the lead player. So when you take the full 12, you get your 4 fusion pistols, which is really what you care about.
Yeah.
But now you can also have 4 neuro disruptors, so you get 8 special weapons in your 12-man squad.
That's obnoxious. Okay.
Yeah, it's really cool. Like the neuro disruptors are fine. They're 1 damage, 1 shot, AP2, anti-infantry 2. Yeah. So like they're not, but it's cool just to do some extra damage. It's not a shuriken pistol, so it's just anything to have something a little bit better. Is always cool, really. Star Weavers, the transports, got the Venom rules. They can get back in them, provided that they're empty at the end of the fight phase if they're not in combat. So that's great. The Void Weavers, the gunboats, are playable now. Good. So they have 18-inch lone op.
Okay.
And stealth, so they got stealth back.
Okay.
Their guns are exactly the same, and their point cost is exactly the same. So the gun that we care about is this prismatic cannon. 2 shots, strength 12, AP3, 4 damage.
Okay.
Really good. It's
Just
really good.
4. All right.
Flat 4. And they get 2 shuriken cannons on top of it.
Okay.
They're 125 points. It's crazy.
Sounds like it. Are there any other Harlequin units in there that need to be kind of called out for this?
The bikes, I think, are insane. Which is also the last Harlequin unit. So that's fine.
Yeah. Let's hear it.
So you get 2 or 4.
Yep.
They're mounted. Obviously, they have fly. They move 14.
Okay.
Which is an average Eldar bike.
Yep.
They have their 4-up invul. They've got 3 wounds. They're OC2. They got -1 to hit. Not stealth, -1 to hit. It works in combat.
Oh.
It's really
unfair.
Sure.
Coming from the guy with company heroes.
Yes. Naturally, they come with shuriken cannons.
Of course,
which are good. Shuriken cannons did change in the codex. They're not sustained hits anymore. They are lethal hits.
Oh. That sounds worse, in all honesty.
I mean, probably. Yeah. I guess, like, the math of it is worse, but that's okay, because the rest of their profile got better.
Oh, good. All right.
They can just swap to haywire cannons.
Okay.
Which are 2 shots. And unlike their Drukhari cousins, they hit on 3s.
Oh.
So 2 bikes is 4 haywire shots. At 95 points.
That seems strong.
But then there's their melee.
Oh, no.
Which previously was 4 attacks, hitting on 3s, strength 4, AP1, 2 damage. It was bad.
Right.
For the Zephyr Glaive. It is still 4 attacks.
Okay.
And it still hits on 3s.
Okay.
But now it is 6-2-2.
For 95 points. For 2
For
of them.
95 points, it's 8 attacks. Or
can you have more than 2?
Yeah, you can have 4. So for 190 points.
Okay.
And they're mounted, so they get the charge on your turn strat. And for extra flavor, for like literally no reason, in case you need to be -2 to hit, they have the smoke keyword.
Oh no.
I don't know why you need it, but they have it.
All right. And then just so we're clear, all the Harlequin units have access to battle focus, I assume?
Oh yeah, they all have battle focus. 100%.
Good.
Yeah. So you could not overwatch them, or they can advance and charge, or whatever. You know, they're doing the thing.
So even were I to bring flamers, it won't matter.
It will. If I don't want it to matter, it will not matter. Correct.
Great. Okay. Cool. Love that.
I am incredibly excited to play Harlequins. I'm also incredibly excited to play Reaper's Wager, the Grotmist attachment for Drukhari, because previously it was bad because Harlequins sucked, and now they're good. Oh
yeah, that's right. Now you have good Drukhari units
and good Harlequin units
and good Harlequins. So Reaper's Wager is no matter who's winning, they're good.
It's good, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
That detachment also has 6 incredible 1 CP strats.
Oh, that's yeah. Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
I have a few notes that I would like to make on the Aeldari Codex that I would just like to be thankful for. Specifically, 2 things I'm very thankful for. Number 1, the Fire Prism has been nerfed.
It has.
The pointing the guns through another one is at most 1 attack from the ones that are hiding, which to me feels very good as someone who played Dreadnoughts a lot at the beginning of the edition.
Yeah.
Just cancer. And the other thing that I'm very thankful for is the Night Spinner has been taking down a considerable peg.
Quite a bit, yes.
They still, like, the gun is still good. It's not quite as strong as it was, but it's no longer dev wounds, which to me just makes my heart glow.
It's good.
Because the number of times, like, I've had straight up units like die to just a lucky Night Spinner twin link. You're just like, all right.
Yep. It feels bad. It does. It feels really bad. Yeah, I mean, there's quite a few things as like Eldari opponents to be thankful for. Just removing fate dice.
Oh yes.
For the health of the game is so good. I've actually was talking to my teammates about it today because they were talking about how, like, yes, the codex is very good, but they are less afraid of it than they were the index. Just because the index there were instances that it was just because of fate dice statistically impossible to survive or statistically impossible to kill something.
Yeah.
Just because fate dice existed. So that not being a thing anymore is already huge.
I just really appreciate the direction that GW has taken in terms of being like, these units go in this group, these units go in this group. There's not a ton that you just get to crossbleed between all of them, like the index detachment, right? That is what makes an index so strong. It's because you can bring in everything into it. There isn't any specialty associated with it, especially with big stuff like Marines and Elves and everything else with something that has over 40 units in it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, and I mean, especially with the Eldar Codex, I don't have a Space Marine Codex, so I don't know. But if it's not bigger than the Space Marine Codex physically, it's really close. It's got to be the second biggest codex we've gotten. It's enormous.
Yeah, the Space Marine Codex is a thick ass boy. So
it is, yeah. So.
Okay, so now that we've kind of gone through your most hype Eldari stuff, and then the Guard stuff in general, let's talk about what you're most excited to play, and then where you think, what you're most excited to play into with that detachment.
Okay, sure. You want that for both, or just Eldar?
Both. Let's do both.
Both, yeah, both is good. Man, I am most excited to play Harlequins.
Yeah.
I loved them before. I think they're super cool just as a faction. And then 10th edition came and they told me that I couldn't play with my toys anymore. And I was really sad, and they sucked. And I was very hopeful that we were going to get a Harlequin detachment, and we did. And not only did we get one, I think it's great.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'm very, very excited to play that. I think it's definitely got some good tech and some interesting tricks and things that can be done within it.
So what kind of army do you want to take that detachment into?
I mean, yeah, like that's kind of the downside, I suppose, is that it's going to play very similar to how I have already been playing Sky Splinter Drukhari, in that I've got a lot of units and the units hit really hard, but I don't have really anything tough. And most of the units are small. So like, it's still, I don't think it's going to be an easy army to play by any means. And I'm not even sure how many easy quote unquote matchups it has. Like, I mean, the bikes are incredible, right? Like they're going to 4 bikes in shooting. They will kill a transport, and then they get to charge the thing that they're in or that was in it. And they're going to kill that with straight 6 damage too. Like they're wild, but, I don't think that there's like just I'm going to sit down and move on, like auto win and move on, unless, I guess if somebody does want to play 6 Rogel Thorns, then I probably just win that game. But that's, not a thing that really should happen. So, like as for just a matchup specifically, I don't know. I don't know that there's one matchup I'm excited for. I'm just excited to play that army and that detachment. I think it's just going to be a lot of fun. It is very conducive to the way that I naturally play 40K.
I can't wait to see what like 2 Eldari players going into each other do, because that's going to be the most fun, in my opinion, to watch, because that shit sounds crazy. Just because of the sheer volume of detachments,
Yeah. Like you're going to have mirror matches. They're not going to be mirror matches.
Not even a little bit.
It's going to be crazy. Like, I mean, it's on steroids, right? Like we saw the top 16 at LVO was 4 Space Marines, and they were all different attachments.
Yep, which was great.
Which was amazing, but like it's going to be that more.
Yeah.
Like it's
10 very different Eldari lists in like top 30 competitions. So
yeah.
That's going to be fun. You know what? I'm excited. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's healthy. There are some things, like there's a couple of units here and there that I'm like, that's probably a problem. But like overall, I think the codex is surprisingly well balanced for the history of Eldar release codexes.
Yeah, I have more faith in GW than I've ever had in their releases since I started playing, which has not been a long time, but I was deeply jaded early on in my exposure to new stuff. At the end of 9th edition and going through 10th edition, and then just seeing them take such a rapid turn, like once they hired Josh and them to come in and actually clean up the competitive side of it. It's been such a, people get to play really cool stuff, really cool detachments, and be strong. Like, you just get strong stuff, but you're not broken.
And, like, obviously, the game's not perfect, right? And it never will be. Nothing will be. But in the years that I've played competitive 40K, like, honestly, this is, I think, probably the best time that I've seen. And there are things that are broken, but the speed that they are, like, answering things with, and the, like, honest attempt at balancing things properly and listening to the competitive community and watching what's actually happening, like, Josh and our current team are incredible. The work that they're doing for this game is better than I've ever seen.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm not puckering up anymore for releases, and that feels so good, because once they did what they did to Sisters on release, at that moment I was like, oh, we're okay. Like, Sisters were strong, but at no point were they like 68% win rate. Obviously, we're dealing with rottenness stuff right now, like Slanesh and all that.
And I think a lot of that is just excitement. And if you get, that's just math, right? If you get enough people playing something, the numbers will go up.
Yes.
And don't get me wrong, the Slanesh detachment is amazing.
Spectacular, truly.
But I don't know that it's broken, and that is coming from, I have not played against it.
Okay.
I've obviously read it, and I've spent a lot of time looking at it and talking about it, and I played Demons for, like, all of 9th edition, so, like, I get it, but it's by no means on paper does it seem unbeatable. I think there's just a lot of very good players right now that are playing it because it's new and good.
Yeah. It feels like nothing feels completely out of reach, which I love that. I love that feeling.
Yeah. And that was not true 12 months ago, right? Like, that's...
Yeah. I mean, the beginning of 10th edition was...
It was a dark time. It was a dark time.
Okay, now speaking of dark times, I think I think what we should do is let's talk about, like, consider we're talking about how good 10th edition is right now. Let's talk about how bad it was at the beginning of 10th, just for some, juxtaposition here. And I'm going to start with an anecdote here. I remember in the first RTT of 10th edition, I was so excited. I had my 10 Terminators, right? My brick of 10 brand new Terminators from the Leviathan box that I painted up, and they were beautiful, and I was playing into Aeldari, right? And so they're on the board. And so, number one, the Night Spinner hits them. So they're moving 2 inches.
Yeah, it's hot.
And then the Wraith Knight fires into them with an Overwatch and kills 7 of them.
Yeah, I'm surprised it only killed 7 of them.
Yeah.
Could have killed them all.
My, at the time, 400-point unit just deleted from the game. And that was the beginning of 10th edition. And now there is nothing in the game that can so unfairly do that. And that feels really good. So that's my nightmare story that I want to tell. Tell me about a nightmare story that you had at the beginning of 10th.
Man, I mean, that's pretty much right. Like, that is the quintessential, like, that's what 10th edition was when it came out. But you're also looking at, we had beginning of 10th edition GSC that was just 100% of the time reviving, and then they were not really 100, but basically 100% reviving. And then they were reviving and deep striking at like 3 inches away, and they just screened the entire board, and there was really like legitimately nothing you could do about it. And it felt awful. Because there was just nothing that you can do. And like it was a similar thing for Eldar, right? Like,
Yeah.
I can't move because that Wraith Knight's going to Overwatch me, and he's going to deal 24 mortal wounds, and I'm going to die.
Yep.
Like, and that's just the way that it is. And I can't screen it out because they're going to deep strike, and they're going to use their fate dice, and they're going to make their charge, and they're just going to do whatever they want. And I'm going to have a break before the next game. Like, that's it.
Yeah, it's so cool because right now I can put just about any army on the table and have a fun game. It's not always going to be a good game because they're armies with really good lists and they're units that are just like shockingly good out there. But like, we have John Lennon running around right now playing Stormlance Ultramarines, and his list is so weird, and he's like winning GTs with it. And and that's not something that was happening at the beginning of 10th or late 9th edition.
Right.
So,
yeah, and it's a great thing to see because, like, sure, statistically, was it possible? Yes. And is Warhammer still, like, at its core a game about knowledge, and the people that know their armies and the game will do well regardless, even if their army is bad? Like, that's still true, but the gap between the worst and the best is so much closer now than it was a year ago. Yeah.
And man, I know that the like competitive community has been growing to a massive degree, which to me warms my soul, because that's all what my TikTok has ever been about, which is just encouraging people to play in tournaments. Mm-hmm. As someone who's been playing a little longer than me, so you've been playing competitively since 8th edition.
Yep.
Where do you feel like the line is for people? So if you were to say, like, when the gears click together for you as far as like, oh, I'm competitively ready, like, what do you think was that thing that like snapped in place for you?
Oh my gosh. Oh man, I don't even know. Like I say competitively in 8th edition. It was really just like RTTs and stuff. I didn't go to my first major until 9th edition, like almost halfway through. Mm-hmm. But that was the big one. Like I played like when I first learned how to play, I played a lot.
Yep, same.
But there was just like where I was, my friend that taught me how to play, his name's Phil, and we were the only 2 people at like the base that we were at that played. It was out in the middle of nowhere. And so like it was every weekend that like he taught me how to play, and we played 40K because it was like that's what there was to do.
Nice. Was Phil the guy who like beat you silly every game that you guys played, or was he also kind of learning with you?
No, he's been playing since like 4th edition.
Oh, nice.
He's been playing for a very, very long time, and yeah, he just kicked my ass for, I don't know, probably close to a year until I finally like figured out how to actually play this game. And then I just played a lot, and I, as I do with pretty much anything I'm interested in, became far too interested, and I consumed any amount of media and content that I could just because I liked it and I wanted to know what was going on and what I was doing. And that continued. And like, I started playing, I moved out to Mississippi. There was actually a game store there. And so that was when I was like, oh, I can actually play in tournaments now. And I started playing, and that was like, I guess when I realized, because I didn't have anything to work on. I had only played with Phil, and we went to, I don't remember the name of the event. It's in Austin.
Okay.
But they have a narrative event that's put on by a group called the Narrative Guys. If you've ever heard of them, they're pretty good. They're
cool.
A bunch of good dudes. But we had gone to events and played just like narrative events and stuff.
Sure.
And that's like how I started, and that was fun. But I hadn't played I didn't have an actual grasp of like where am I at compared to other whatever the average person that's going to a tournament. Until I moved to Mississippi, and then I started playing there, and that was when I guess really realized it was like, oh, okay, so I'm actually like I have a pretty good grasp, a little, doing better than like I was getting. My first couple were like 2-1s, and that's fine. I mean, not fine, like 2-1 at your first couple of RTTs, I think is incredible.
Yeah.
For any if anybody told me that that's what they were doing, I would be very,
really
very happy
good
for them. Yeah, very happy for them. But like the perspective, I guess, like those were like 8-person RTTs. They were small.
Yeah.
But still, like I'm not trying to, take anything away from myself. It was just the way that it was. But like really, when I went to my first major was a big one. That was like the big, hey, I think I actually know. I actually know what I'm doing. I went to Dallas Open when it was not GW.
Okay.
So it was called the Dallas Open. It was run by Team Texas at the time. It got turned into, I don't remember what they renamed it to, but they renamed it to something else. And then now it just doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
And then we've got the Lone Star Open, which is Frontline, and then the Dallas Open officially now is a GW event. But at the time it was not. It was just a major. And I took this was 9th edition before the Demon Codex came out, so like halfway through ish of the edition. I played demons to the Dallas Open. I was the only demon player there. And I went 3-0 on the first day, which was insane. And I was super happy about it. And it was like the thing that I will probably remember for my, competitive 40K was that like, after the third game, after we finished and like everybody's scores got put in, everybody's just kind of lingering around, and Nick Nanavati came over to me and like he went, obviously he had no idea who I was, but like made it a point to like find me and come talk to me. And he was like, hey man, you're playing demons? And I was like, yeah, really like them. Like they're really cool. I really like this army. And he's like, you're 3-0? And I was like, yeah. And like, we just talked about it. And he was like, the excitement that he shared for me was like everything that I could have wanted at that time. Like that was huge for me. And I was great. Like, this person that I know of as, one of the forefront of the competitive 40K, which is what I'm, trying to do here. Like this person saw a thing that I did, thought that it was great, and made it a point to come talk to me about it. Like that was huge. And that was like really the big thing that I was like, if I'm doing something, if I'm capable of doing something that somebody at that level thinks is cool or is impressive in some way, then I think I'm doing something right, probably. Like,
yeah,
and
I'll say,
that's it. So
there's no one in the community that I would prefer to have praise from other than Nick Nanavati. So like, I get it, dude.
Right? Dude, like it's cool.
Yeah. Now we'll close it out here. And what I'll say is that as someone who's, in the mid tables, trying to make their way into the X and 1 stage of their Warhammer career, I think one of my biggest moments in the most recent has been the games that you and I have been playing, Joey, in all honesty.
Yeah.
Like when we play at tournaments, and your indifference towards how the dice are and just accepting them as they are has been something that I have been like, I've been reminding myself of that like mindset often. And I think that has made me a better player in the more recent months. So thank you. I appreciate you, buddy.
Yeah. Thank you, man. I'm happy to help. I think it's huge. Like that's a thing, and it's hard to learn. It's hard to accept, but like people will talk about it all the time about like getting upset that they lost 2 dice.
Yeah.
And that is the one thing that I will not get upset about because it's the one thing that I can't control.
That's right. Everything else you can.
And if I lost because of the thing I can't control and I did everything else correctly and I can look at the score and know that I did everything that I could, then I don't have a reason to be upset.
That's right.
So,
all right.
And I think that goes a long way. So
well, thank you all. If you've made it this far for listening to our show, we just hit the 2-hour mark. Welcome to the YAWP, and we'll see you on the next episode.